and welcome to another episode of cEDH gameplay videos. Today I'm playing Toxrill, the Corrosive. It's a kind of mid-range deck, Painted Abyss and other Demir things. My starting hand is pretty slow, turn 3 Toxrill if I draw another land. I do have a Gilded Drake for like some value commanders maybe, and I can land like turn 2 Malevolent Hermit. This is not the greatest hand, I should have gone to 5 instead, but I think this will still get me there, and it's kind of creature heavy, so I think early Toxrill will do some work.
Hello, I'm here with my Kodama Silias deck, which is really good at putting shit into play and also feeding mana. It's a lot of fun to play, and it's a new version, so not the database version that you used to, because it's also running Hermit Druid. And my opening hand is pretty boring. Turn 1 Dork into turn 2 Signet Fellwar Stone into basically a D-tutor.
Hello, I'm Mikey. Today I'm playing Armix Kraum, which is a mid-range Adnaz deck. So this deck has the ability to pivot and go really fast and drop an early Adnaz, and it also has the potential to control the board with Armix. So if there's a lot of powerful creatures or powerful Hapers, it's able to stop them. It's also able to hit a lot of different commanders that people are building their decks around, which is very powerful. Additionally, I'm part of the Eminence team as well as the Miscast, and we have our first event that's going to be happening outside of Philadelphia at the end of the month. And I hope to see a lot of you there. Mons and I talked a little bit on his channel before, and it should be a great event. And as for my opening hand, we kept something that gives us a lot of options. So I saw that I have a lot of mana and I have a Vamp Tutor. So this is probably going to use to get me an early Ristic Study or some sort of payoff, maybe an Adnos if I draw like a Dark Rid or some more fast acceleration off the top of my deck. And then I like how I can keep up a Miscast early to either defend my payoff that I get early, as well as a Mindbreak Trap, because there's a lot of commanders in this pot that are a lot of mana, such as Toxrill as well as Snooze K's Kodama. So this gives me the chance to really disrupt that plan if they drop a bunch of rocks and drop like an early commander or something along those lines. So Mindbreak Trap I think is a really good piece of fast interaction. And then alternatively, I may be able to just get out one of my commanders early and then start to cure value that way. So this hand just gives me a lot of options, and having this early tutor with a bunch of mana and this Mox Diamond and Ancient Tomb give me a lot of potential to possibly go off.
Hi everybody, Mons here. I'm playing Rakdos Magara Magic Strains. Very simple. I want to get Seize of the Day into my graveyard and use this commander to reanimate that spell and go infinite combat steps. Also, we have a Peer into the Abyss, Odd Nos, humans, stuff like that. But I want to point out this is not a complete list. Like, I'm trying it out, I'm experimenting with lists here and there, just cards are going in and out. So in the description below of the video, as always, there's gonna be deck lists of everything, but don't take this as a finalized version. Now the hand that I'm keeping is down to 6. I kind of like it. I have a Dockside, I have a Lotus Petal, Tainted Pact, and Lightning Bolt, so I can reanimate the Tainted Pact and gain some value there. Tutor for the Seize of Day, Dockside Distortions could get me the mana that I need, and Lightning Bolt could be a good way to interact here and there, so I kind of like the hand. Now with that, let's start the match.
Take my turn. Shock in a Water Grave, and then I will tap it for blue to cast a Mystic Remora.
Pass on Mystic Remora.
And if that's good, I'll pass the turn.
I hate fish.
Cool, I'll draw a card. I'll play and crack this Polluted Delta, and I'll just get a draw past this Inhornal. And if that's okay, I will pass my turn.
I will cast this Mox Diamond, pitch an Arid Mesa. You can draw upon this.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll play this Polluted Delta for turn. And I will just fetch now for Underground Sea, taking a point of damage, and I'll pass turn.
I will draw a card for turn. I'm gonna play this Lotus Petal, Arid Mesa.
Why are we feeding
you can
fish?
Draw a card fish, and I will fetch with this.
Stop feeding the slug.
I will find a bad land and pass the turn.
Should find a good land next turn.
Untap fish trigger. I'll pay for fish. Draw for turn. Ancient Tomb, land for turn, and then pass.
Draw a card. I will play and crack this Verdant Catech. I will get an Underground Sea and cast this Arcane Stick. You can draw. I would like to cast a Demonic too. You can draw. Alright, I will go find a Yu-Gi-Oh card and pass turn.
On
That's
your end
illegal.
step, I'll fire off this Vamp Tutor.
Trigger fish.
Yeah, you can draw fish. We'll put that there. Ancient Tomb. I'll take 2 life, and I'm going to cast this Ristic Study, or Unstable Harmonics, as it's called here. You may draw.
Thank you.
I don't like this. I pass.
I pass.
I will also pass.
Cool. Alright, after that, my turn's finished.
I'm gonna untap and draw a card. So I drew into the combo piece that I need to go infinite combat steps. We are a little bit far off of getting there. Also, versus Ristic Study and versus Fish we can't win. Because whenever I'm attacking, he's drawing a card, and whenever he draws a card, he will find answers. So I think I need to play it slow here and intentionally just try to find red. I think I'm gonna need to use my Tainted Pack to find red elemental blast so I can destroy the Rhystic Study here. But what we're gonna begin is just using Dockside to get the mana for our commander. Land up Swamp, 2 mana, Dockside Extortionist.
Rhystic trigger.
I'm paying for the Rhystic Study.
So responsible. Now someone counter it.
So with the 4 treasures, I'm casting my commander, and I'm keeping a treasure alive.
Rhystic trigger on your commander.
And I'm using the last treasure to pay for the Rhystic Study.
You're letting Pontus draw all these cards and I can't draw 1 month? What's going on? This is some collusion.
No, I still don't have the mana. Now I have the mana. I pass, go for it.
Untap, fish trigger, I let fish die. Draw for 2. So that force negation makes this play a lot better. I was kind of contemplating if I should just like play out mana and like play out Malevolent Hermit with a Arcane Signet, but drawing this force negation makes me way more secure in just like slamming a Toxrill here and passing, having force up. So yeah, that was a great top deck, and I will play out my commander, which is pretty much out of nowhere for my opponents. Land for turn is a Bloodstained Mire. I'd like to crack it.
You got it.
Finding a Underground Sea. I'd like to cast a Yule Lotus.
Uh-oh. That's slug mana.
You may draw for stick, Mikey. I'll tap 7 to cast a Toxrill.
This is so bad. So I guess my creatures are gonna die before it's my turn.
Yes. Yeah, then I'd like to move to cleanup. So Toxrill says that in the beginning of each end step, each creature gets slug counter on it. And for each slug counter, they get -1/-1. And whenever a creature with a slug counter on it dies, I create a slug. I can also sacrifice a slug for a blue and a black to draw a card. So this will basically ensure that the board is always clear until they can remove Toxrill.
Which is very bad because I'm commander dependent.
I think that's a good thing, honestly.
Pin Hornellus goes poo-poo,
Yeah.
and you get a slug boy.
So I will discard a Swamp, Meat Massacre, and the Malevolent Hermit.
I'll untap, draw a card. So we got our piece of protection that we wanted, but it's a misstep. Everyone else tapped out. I'm not really worried about the slug, but for future game plans, that's gonna get out of hand real quick. Basically have to bank on the fact that 2 cards I'm drawing Mikey doesn't get him into several piece counter magic. I'm gonna go for it regardless. I would like to play a Bayou, and then I would like to cast Basketball.
Uh-oh.
Oracle trigger, or Rhystic trigger on the Oracle.
I'm not gonna pay.
Draw 1. I will pass on Oracle.
I pass on Oracle Cast.
ETB. I would like to run into Mikey's counterspell and cast this Tainted Pack.
Can I draw off the Tainted Pack?
Yeah,
I would like to show you a miscast.
I'll show you a misstep.
Rhystic trigger.
Yeah, you can draw again.
Here's a Mind Break Trap.
That resolves. Oracle ETB. May I look at the top 2 cards of my...
You may.
Yeah, go crazy. Have fun.
Yeah.
Have
Cool.
fun, sport.
These cards are bad. I'll put this one on the bottom and this past turn.
In the end step, a slug counter is placed on Dockside and it dies and you gain a slug. And my Magar is going down to a 1/1.
We'll untap. So here I have a lot of decisions to make. I'm not sure what exactly I want to do. The Toxrill kind of puts a damper on my plans with getting my commanders out because I'm basically going to be putting mana into them. They're going to die pretty quickly. But drawing this Twister is interesting because I don't necessarily want to refill Mons' hand. And Scipio, or not Scipio, Sisuke just kind of went for a win, so he's kind of low on resources. So I'm in a pretty good spot just chilling on my Rhystic. And I have a Dispel, so I'm not sure if I want to develop my mana here or if I want to just cast the Twister and hope that I twist into a good hand since people are tapped out. I think ultimately I'm going to try to go for the high roll play with the Twister and just hope I can just go into something really nutty. And worst case scenario, I have my Rhystic taken on. I would like to play a City of Breaths land. I will take another 2 damage off this Ancient Tomb, and I will cast a Grim Monolith. If that's all good, I would like to have a colorless floating, and I would like to cast a Time Twister.
I'm passing on Time Twister.
Maybe I should not be fine with this, but I think I am. So yeah, I pass as well.
Yeah, I'm hella fine with this. Let's go.
Okay, so Twister resolve. I have a colorless floating, and I'm not in love with this. It just doesn't really have a clear game plan. Like, I could cast Necropotence, but it's kind of risky since then I'll be tapped out, and then everyone else gets a turn, and I'm not in a great spot. And especially the Rakdos deck, I'm scared about just being pretty explosive. So I don't think I want to play the Necro here. I think I'm going to save that for next turn. Having the Final Fortune is also really nice if I do Necro next turn and then go. So the question here is, do I want to cast the Mana Tutor, or do I want the Op Agent up? I think I'm going to hold the Op Agent up here in case someone drew a Tutor off the wheel, and then I might be able to get some value off of that. And then also just gives me flexible options, and then next turn I'll be able to untap with a bunch of mana, and hopefully the Demonic Tutor will get me something.
So this Twister was interesting. Gives us an option next turn of casting a Vamp Tutor on upkeep, which lets us get a console and then go for the Image Oracle line. But that would require someone to kill the slug, otherwise our Task Oracle does die. So if we're lucky, we have Mons kills it off for some reason if he's a creature-based deck. Otherwise, we have to resort to something else, which at the moment I'm not sure what that's going to be. Maybe it's going to be a double slug best.
Cast this Lotus Petal, and then I'll use the colorless I had floating off my Grim Monolith for this Talisman of Dominance. And I will pass turn.
What? Nice. In the end step though, my Magar is dead to the Toxrill, and you get a slug. I'm gonna tap and draw a card.
And my Oracle is a -1/1.
So we drew a Duress. Honestly, we're in a very horrible position because we are kinda commander dependent, kinda. What we need to do here is to kill Toxrill, and then we need to probably kill Rhystic Study as well. We don't have any way in our hand of doing that. We do have a deflecting sword, which could help a lot. I could tap out for all of my artifacts, which is kind of what you wanna do. But honestly, just because I do have a deflecting sword and I do need to kill both of those two, I'm just gonna put my land into play and pass turn here and wait until there's a way for me to interact with the table with the deflecting sword, trying to kill the Rhystic Study or that big slug. I'm gonna put Swamp into play and pass the turn.
Go to my turn. Land for turn is a Sculling Tarn. I'd like to crack it. Finding a snow-covered island. So my hand doesn't do a lot, but I do have a lot of mana. So I'm going to do a kind of risky play here actually. I'm gonna like just storm out my Signets, my Mana Vault, and my Fish, and then cast Twister. I might get punished doing this because Mikey has mana up and will draw 4 cards from me doing this. But I do think it's the right play for me. Like I can grind with Toxrill, but like my hand doesn't really do anything. So I think that's just a call. I'll cast a Fish.
Rhystic Trigger.
You get that one back?
Yeah, I got it back. Thank you, Mikey.
Can I draw off Rhystic for giving you your fish back?
Sure, you can draw.
Oh, yes.
Come on, not this bullshit again.
I'll cast the Mana Crypt.
Rhystic Trigger.
You may draw, good sir.
Oh my goodness.
What is this kind of collusion here? What's going on? Is this a feed train?
Mikey has everyone in his pocket.
Yeah, I'll tap 2. Cast the Mirror Signets. You may draw.
You have another say. Can I draw?
Can we draw again?
Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, keep them coming, bro.
I have a feel. I'm just gonna guess Windfall. Otherwise, I'm disappointed, Pontus.
Tap 3 mana for a Time Twister.
I was close.
You can draw, Mikey.
I was close.
You were close.
Rhystic Trigger.
You may draw.
I will show you a Force of Will, and I'll pitch this Chain of Vapor.
I have a response to my Fish trigger. I'd like to Mystic Tutor in response to Fish.
Rhystic Trigger.
I can pay for this one.
Collusion ended.
I have no response to Mystic.
Mystical resolves. So yeah, I fucked up. I expected there to be a Fierce Guardianship in this deck. Not having a Fierce Guardianship in the deck with a 7 mana commander is perfectly reasonable, and I should have assumed that and not paid for the Lost Rhystic, so I can just have a 1 blue mana up for a counter. But here, I think I cannot let Mikey get away with this many draws and not encountering the wheel. So I'll have to find a pact to protect this. I still have the mana to pay. It's just way worse than I was hoping for. So yeah, I'll put the pact on top and try to protect this Time Twister because I think I have to. Otherwise we'll just lose on his turn.
So I know it might seem weird that I didn't cast the opposition agent there. Here, I just want to make sure that I had my mana up since Martin also got a fresh 7 and I'm kind of worried what he might be doing on his turn. So I'd rather try to fight over this Twister and the next turn be able to get this Necro Final Fortune off. And I want to leave the opposition agent unknown for now for Martin's turn, or just make sure that I have mana open in order to stop things that he might be doing. Because he does have a fair amount of mana, just got a fresh grip, and I'm a little bit scared of what happened. So I didn't want to just tap out blindly for this Mystical Tutor just so I could stop this Twister. I want to leave my options open.
So I draw off my Fish, and then in response to the Force of Will, I will cast the Pact of Negation, targeting that force, not paying for a stick.
I'll draw first. I will give you an offer you cannot refuse. Tapping this Talisman. I'll take a point of damage for blue.
So yeah, my Twister gets countered by an offer I can't refuse. I gain 2 treasures, and then my Pact resolves, targeting the Force of Will. So I do have a Pact trigger on my next turn. I'd then like to move to combat.
Yep.
Mikey, take 10.
Ouch. I'll take 10.
Then I'll pass the turn.
My Oracle will die. Draw a card. I would like to have with you here. Cast a fantastic.
Rhystic Trigger.
You can draw.
This is board wipe epic.
I pass 2.
I would like a Toxrill. I would like to play a Cradle.
That's a nice synergy.
I know, right?
That's great.
Past turn. So we got ourselves an interesting situation. With 2 Toxrills on the board, it goes in app-nap order for the trigger. In this situation, where it's my turn, my trigger will go on the stack first, and then Pontus' trigger will go on the stack. That means Pontus' trigger will resolve, giving my Toxrill a slug counter, and then after that, my Toxrill will resolve, killing his for 1/1 slug, giving me 4 new slug. And on Mikey's end step, it's then gonna go the other way around, where mine is gonna resolve first, and then Pontus. So it all depends on turn order. I get 4 slugs, Pontus gets nothing. There we go.
Cast a Vampiric Tutor, take the damage.
Triggerfish.
You can draw.
No response to that.
Tutor for a card, shuffle. Alright, I want to draw this mystery card. Shotgun a Watery Grave. I'd like to cast a Necropulse.
Triggerfish.
You may draw.
Pass on Necro.
Yeah, you can have a necro.
I'll draw 11 and go to 5.
Yeah, as long as but just those 11 cards are not in your hand yet, I would like to respond before you go to end step.
What would you like to do with my end step?
I would like to. I'll just be casting a unoverloaded Cyclonic Rift targeting the target.
Triggerfish.
You can draw.
Thank you, sir.
I don't have enough mana for that.
So I drew a Fluster, and that could save my Toxrill here. But I honestly don't think that's the right call here. So I could save him, but like they still die in 4 or 5 turns. And I think I have to respect the threat of drawing 11 from Mikey here. So I'll just let my Toxrill disappear here. I'll be sad about it, sure. But yeah, I think I have to.
Am I good to put 11 cards in my hand now?
You are.
Well, before I discard, I'll take a point, go to 4, crack this pedal. I would like to put a Final Fortune on the stack.
No response.
Triggerfish.
Yeah, no, you're good to draw.
So I pass on Final Fortune.
I'll respond. Oh, you have plus.
Fluster. Ristic trigger.
You can.
I will draw a card. Okay, so Storm Count is too much for me to pay for. So that'll get countered. Go to cleanup. This card can go all to exile. And my turn's finished.
I'm gonna draw a card for turn. That's not great. I'm gonna cast a Rakdos Signet. I'm gonna pay for Ristic Study, but I'm not paying for fish. You can draw a card, Pontus, and then I pass the turn.
Go to my turn. Untap, and we have 2 triggers. We have Pact and Mystic Remora. Use the black to pay for Mystic Remora, and then use the remaining 2 blue and 3 to pay for Pact. I choose to not die. A choice I do every day so far. Draw for turn. Prismatic Vista. Land for turn. I will fetch. Losing life. Finding an island. Then I'll just pass the turn. Go to cleanup. So I will discard Slip Off the Back. I'll discard Everflowing Chalice. And I will discard Toxrill to command zone.
I will draw. A few thoughts here. Can't really go for a win because we were missing the black to go for the P-deck. If we had to fluster Mikey's final, pretty likely that we can kill Mikey with the Toxrill and the 4 slug. So there is an option to just go for a culling ritual. We vamp tutor, then we pay 2 to sacrifice a slug, and then we can pay with the Underground Sea or Bayou plus the Cradle, which lets us cast our Kodama. And I don't think we want to do that before we kill Mikey. We probably have to do that after. And it does potentially feed the fish a little bit, which is scary. I would like to move to combat. I'd like to swing out at Mikey.
I will die.
Alrighty. In my second main, I'd like to pay 1 and cast a Vampiric Tutor. Put this card on the top of my library. Then I would like to pay 2 and sacrifice a slug to draw. And then I would like to float a green. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll cast a culling ritual.
I pass on the culling ritual that you're casting.
Triggerfish.
Yeah, you can draw. I have 1 green floating.
Thank you. I'll respond to Culling. Fluster.
Fluster, the only card. Sure. Yep, that resolves.
Nice.
I will pass my turn.
I will untap and draw a card for turn. I'm gonna cast Duress. I'm gonna target Pontus. I get to look at your hand, or actually you get to reveal your hand, and I can discard a non-creature, non-land card from it.
So I'll reveal my hand. That one, 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 and that one.
And that's a pretty good hand, honestly. So I can't force him to discard Phasas here. I think the best way is to... Wait, I'm gonna get the Wish Claw if he activates. I'm gonna force you to discard the Tutor, the Transmute Shred Memories.
Okay.
And then I will pass the turn here.
Go to my turn. I also pay for fish. Draw for turn. Playing Bloodstainmire, Lamprey. I would like to fetch. Finding a snow-covered swan. 1 colorless floating. I'd like to cast a Cabalrit. 5 black floating. I'll use 1 black, go down to 4. Cast a Impsy. The card on top. Pay 2 life. Cast a Git Probe, target Snuske or Martin, whichever you would prefer. Okay, I still think I have it though. So Git Probe resolves a draw card. Tap 2 blue, cast a Oracle.
Pass on Oracle.
ETB trigger. I'll use 2 black, go down to 2 floating. Cast a Impact.
Well, you know what's coming. Show you the pack.
Triggerfish.
Go ahead.
I'll respond. I'll use a black to float blue black. I use a blue, so 1 black still floating. Cast a Force Negation, targeting the pact.
I have a response. Interactive Rakdos with the deflecting SWAT. I want to change the target of Force of Negation to target Tainted Pact. This will send the Tainted Pact into exile, so we can't time twister it back into your hand.
Triggerfish. So Tainted Pact is countered.
And my pact fizzles. Hooray!
Oracle ETB. So I'll look at top 3. I'll put all on bottom. I'll use the black floating. Tap my Watery Grave to cast a Wishclaw Talisman, and then I'll pass the turn.
I would like to cast Kodama. Dothy Voidwalker. When Dothy Voidwalker enters, it triggers Kodama. With the trigger, I put down a Soul Ring too, so I don't have to pay for fish.
Genius.
I would like to go to combat. I would like to swing 9 at Ponta.
Yeah, I'm just blocking with Oracle. So take 3.
Sure, I will get a slug.
Untap and draw a card. Bloodstainmire. I will sacrifice Bloodstainmire, goes to exile. I'll find a basic mountain. I will cast this grinding station. Fish can draw a card. Pass the turn here. Go for it.
Untap, roll for crypt, no damage. I'll let fish die. Goes to Doth Exile.
Yep.
Draw for turn. 4, 5, 7. I'd like to cast the Hullbreaker Horror.
See, now that's a problem.
I'd like to tap 2 to cast a Arcane Signet. Trigger Hullbreaker Horror. I'd like to bounce this Mana Crypt. So with Mana Crypt in my hand, I'll recast it for 0, tap Arcane Signet for a blue, and then bounce it back with Hullbreaker. This loop costs 2 mana to cast and produces 3 mana, one of which are colored. So I can repeat this process for infinite colored mana, and then with my infinite colored mana, I can cast Toxrill and sack him to himself to draw a card. Yeah, I can also, because I can sack Toxrill, I can actually bounce all my opponent's creatures and lands. Not lands because of Hullbreaker Horror, but all my opponent's like board states. I'll cast Event Tutor, so I will tutor that card to the top, lose 2 life, pay 2 life to sack Toxrill to draw it.
In response, I'm gonna activate the Grinding Station by sacrificing Grinding Station, Rakdos Signet to exile and mill you for 3 Pontus here.
I almost played myself again, but luckily I do have Wishclaw Talisman into play this time, so I'll tap it to tutor for the card I just tutored to the top.
Can't stop it, you get it.
Then I'll continue this loop to draw my deck, and in the end, just cast a Mnemonic Betrayal to cast the Thassa's Oracle from Snuske's Graveyard.
You got it.
GG's.
Good game.